we only have connection through love, and the way we can show love is through respect. Love comes from the heart. So when we do these laws, and 3 simple laws: respect each other, respect the animals, and respect the land, and gave us a spiritual connection to everything.
Unifying Australia, how changing one word changes everything. Continue watching to find out more.
Untamura means how are you in Arente, one of the Aboriginal languages in Australia. I'm Nova. The kind people of Australia thank you for choosing vegan and making peace. Welcome to our program, Unifying Australia, how changing one word changes everything. On today's show, we'll visit Down Under, as Australia is often called, and learn how a recent so-called small change is making a world of difference. Indigenous people have lived in Australia for many millennia. The earliest scientific evidence of their Australian roots dates back more than 60,000 years. The nation is home to approximately 300 ethnicities and language groups. And a recent change in Australia's national anthem honours the Indigenous community's great contributions to this magnificently diverse country. Australia's national anthem, Advance Australia Fair, was written and composed by Peter Dodds McCormick in 1878. During the 1970s, Australia was searching for a new anthem, and this song, along with several others, was nominated. A national public opinion survey was conducted, and on April 19, 1984, Australia proclaimed Advance Australia Fair to be its new anthem. In the original version, the first 2 lines went as follows: Australians all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. Over the years, however, unease grew over the second line. Many Australians believed that referring to their country as young only reflected the period of their nation's colonisation a few hundred years ago, and failed to show respect for the Indigenous people who have lived on the continent for millennia. Peter Vickery, founder and chair of the Representation in Anthem Project, RAP, worked with many other Indigenous leaders and singers to create more inclusive lyrics, and recommended the new wording, for we are one and free. The Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable Gladys Berejiklian, quickly supported this recommendation, stating, I think if we say we're one and free, it acknowledges that we're not really young as a continent. We're tens of thousands of years old when it comes to human inhabitants. She added, respect is important, inclusiveness is important. Many people, including members of the national government, also greeted the proposed change with enthusiasm. On December 31st, 2020, Australia's Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Scott Morrison, announced that the national anthem had been revised, with the first 2 lines reading as follows: Australians all let us rejoice, for we are one and free.
Australians all let
although the change appears to be small, it has great significance in reflecting the nation's values. In commenting on the new wording, Prime Minister Morrison said, "Our anthem is about us, who we are and who we hope to be as well." Prime Minister Morrison also explained that through this single word change, Australia pays tribute to its rich Indigenous history.
We live in a timeless land of ancient First Nations peoples, and we draw together the stories of more than 300 national ancestries and language groups. It's a change for all Australians.
Prime Minister Morrison then added, "It recognises the distance we have travelled as a nation. We are the most successful multicultural nation on earth." Australian Indigenous leader and rights advocate Warren Mundine also applauded the change, telling the TV news service 7 News Australia,
"I like the idea of one, like we are one nation, we are one people. Australia is such a great, incredible place, and it's about unifying us." So the Prime Minister's right in regard to that. It's about unifying us. It really got me proud and passionate about being Australian.
This is a simple change, I think. It's a change that I think is very much in accord with where Australians feel about these things. It's not pretending to be anything more than it is.
The Honourable Ken Wyatt, the Federal Minister for Indigenous Australians, believes the change is highly significant, saying, "It's an acknowledgement that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures date back 65,000 years. And it is an acknowledgement that our future, our potential and our success lies in us being one with ourselves and one with our history." The Honourable Anthony Albanese, leader of the Australian Labor Party, also celebrated the change, saying that Australia should be proud of the fact that we have the oldest continuous civilization on the planet right here with First Nations people. In recent years, Australia has made other diligent efforts to honour the contributions of its Indigenous people. In December 2020, 17-year-old Wiradjuri musician Olivia Fox, accompanied by the Australian national rugby team, sang the national anthem both in Eora, the language of the Eora Nation, and in English. It was the first time an Indigenous version of the anthem had been performed at an international sporting event. Regarding the performance, Ms. Fox said, "I wanted to be heard. I'm so proud to be singing this language, and the whole Indigenous community, I could feel them with me." We'll now take a moment to thank the wise Australian leaders who are highly respectful of all their citizens. We'll be back after this message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program. Although Australia's Indigenous peoples settled in many areas of the continent, they never claimed to own the land, believing it to be a gift to be shared by all. Spirituality has always been extremely important to the Indigenous people, and they feel a deep connection to the earth and its inhabitants. Mr. Karl Wickey, an educator at the Muru Mittigar Aboriginal Cultural and Education Centre in New South Wales, Australia, explains further.
We only have connection through love, and the way we can show love is through respect. Love comes from the heart, So when we do these laws, and 3 simple laws, respect each other, respect the animals, and respect the land, and gave us a spiritual connection to everything. By respecting the land and everything in it, I can't do anything that's going to harm you, or anything that I'm not going to like, because, that boomerang as well, everything comes back to us, whatever we're throwing out. Everything's a boomerang effect.
Supreme Master Ching Hai has often praised Indigenous peoples for their deep respect for our earth and all her inhabitants. In December 2020, our most compassionate Supreme Master Ching Hai lovingly accepted a heartfelt invitation by the Honourable Chief Phil Lane Jr., hereditary chief of the Ihang Tonwan, Dakota and Chickasaw nations, to be a keynote speaker at Enlightening Our Way Together, a global digital program that ran from December 11th through December 22nd, 2020, celebrating the dawning of a new age, with emphasis on the worldwide adoption of the vegan diet and actualization of Article 15 of the International Treaty to Protect and Restore Mother Earth. Article 15 commits to eliminating factory farming and protecting Mother Earth from further destruction. In his letter, Chief Lane, who was inspired by Supreme Master Ching Hai's messages and Supreme Master television programs to become vegan, said, "It was clear for me to fully address Article 15 that I needed to be vegan myself and walk my talk. So I am vegan now. Thank you for all your inspiration, prayers and support. Literally, without your very kind, loving and generous support, all our work in 2020 could not have been accomplished. Our thanksgiving transcends the world of names and the murmur of syllables and sounds." The following is a segment of Master's recorded address to Indigenous people around the globe.
Greetings, all the great First Nations in the world, all the Indigenous people, beloved of the creation. I'm very honored to be with you today because you are a very spiritual race of beings. Ever since time immemorial, you have always tried to connect with the higher level of spirit, and you have always tried to protect the environment, the lands, all the beings around you, even trees and grass and flowers always receive your respect and love and protection. And for that, the earth, Mother Earth, thanks you. Nature, thank you. And the animals, thank you. And I thank you. And heaven praises you for being so conscious of the blessing that you have. I wish all the people in the world have the same consciousness of respect, appreciation, and protection and love for all beings around us, because we are all connected. If we hurt one, we will hurt ourselves. If we hurt one, we also hurt all. The Indigenous people especially realize this fact very, very deeply, and they always preserve the tradition of respect and love for all around them. I congratulate those who have turned to veganism as a way of life to help save the animals and save our planet. I'm truly grateful for that, and may God bless you evermore.
Following Supreme Master Ching Hai's message, Chief Lane expressed his heartfelt appreciation for her wise words.
Just heartfelt thanksgiving. I had so many beautiful tears in listening to that beautiful, kind, compassionate message from Supreme Master Ching Hai.
Many thanks to all of the Earth's Indigenous peoples for sharing your great wisdom. We pray that through your noble leadership, we will soon live in a compassionate vegan world. Gracious viewers, thank you for joining us today. Through the grace of the divine, may you grow each day in compassion, wisdom, and inner joy.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/GG.